Alright, here's a video review finally of the KFC E.A.V.I metal series KINGZILLA with Komodus, Snapdragon with Crunk. Here, this is him in his jet mode. He's on the stand. He does come with the standard kind of KFC stand here. And we'll do a quick little rotation around of the jet here. He's got the little flame thruster effects like KINGZILLA did. His guns under here, under the wings, and pretty cool. Now, he does actually have two posts, or two holes on his jet mode for this to plug in. One down here on the lower abdomen, and then one here right under the headmaster panel. You can plug this into either one of those to support him in a flying pose. If you want to have him facing down, you can just turn him around if you wish, but that's just a quick look at him on the stand. We'll go ahead and get him off and look at his jet mode and, of course, all the rest. Pop out his landing gear here. There's one on each foot, and then one here up on the front, and then there he is in his jet mode. This is one of my favorite modes. It's a nice looking jet. I don't have a G1 Snapdragon to compare it with, unfortunately. I did used to have him at some point. I had him as a kid. I love Snapdragon because I had him as a kid. He was one of the few that I had when I was younger, the Headmasters at least, and took him everywhere with me. I think I lost one of these fins as well. You can pull these out if you want. They're neat little effects parts, but they don't really serve much purpose anywhere. Okay, I'll peg his arm here. I'll plug that back on here. So yeah, he does have the same light up feature that KINGZILLA did. You need a 2020 CR 2025 battery that goes in under the thing, but when you open it up, this little LED panel here lights up, and the switch here, you can turn it on and off with a little switch here, but if you have it off, it will automatically turn on when you open the cockpit, which is kind of neat. There's just some little purple LEDs in there. He doesn't have the LEDs in the guns. And you can pull Komodus out of here. He has the little purple plug here that plugs into the bottom of the seat. And it'll be visible through here, but it doesn't stick out. It kind of sits flush with this. So he sits securely in the jet mode. And there's Komodus. He's got ball joint shoulders, hinge elbows, ball joint hips. You can split his legs, knee joints, and as a slight improvement over KINGZILLA's thing, he does have these little flip-out heel spurs that you can pull down, and that will allow him to stand properly without falling over, which is nice. It's really nice to have him not fall backwards all the time. And you can see he's actually he's not like off-white like the old toy was. He actually is kind of a swirly silver plastic. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's darker than I would like. It works, I think, especially for the jet mode. I think it works really well. I would like to see him be a little bit more off-white like the original toy. But like I said, in the bright lights here, it doesn't look too bad. And like regular lighting, he seems a little darker than I would prefer for a Snapdragon, but still pretty neat. He does include the extra face for KINGZILLA. You just swap the legs out, which I would show off on KINGZILLA, but my copy of KINGZILLA was given away as part of a TF Source fan or maybe I think it was their Father's Day contest or something. I don't know, but I had to ship it off. So now I've got this old KINGZILLA face that is a neat little thing to set aside over here. He comes with his instruction manual and bio card. There's his stats there on the back, and all the instructions you need inside to transform him. Now, this took a while. I got this a couple weeks ago, maybe a week. Yeah, I guess about a couple weeks ago, a week ago, and this arm came off, his right arm. They've sent a replacement. I've repaired it. I fixed it, so we're all good. But basically, there's a spring that goes in here, and then a post, and you'll see it when we transform it. It goes into this metal piece, and basically the spring was so hard that the screw itself is not stripped. Looking at it, it's still got its ridges, but it basically had enough pressure in there that it just stripped the screw right out of the die-cast post, and it wouldn't work anymore. It appears they fixed it. I know Ben's Collectibles had the same issue, and I know one of the I was reading that, I guess Madhouse Toys, one of their samples that they had at TFCon, the same thing happened. but it doesn't seem to be super widespread. It is something you want to be concerned with. You know, be careful of when you get yours. Check it, but it appears they fixed it. The replacement piece they sent me is rock solid. I haven't had any issues with it. Now, having said that, it's going to pop off during the video review because that's just how my life tends to go lately. But so far, I've had no issues with it. There was something else I was going to say here, and now I've forgotten what it was. But yeah, just an issue to be aware of. Be careful with it. Because you don't want that to happen. But anyway, that's his extra arm. We'll set that off to the side. Also, I will say, like, he doesn't have the small gorilla hands that King Gorilla did. But if you don't, there's already, like, the fingers at the very, very base joint do have these really thin little joints. You can kind of see a stress mark here because it wasn't folded up quite enough when I went to fold it into the arm cavity here. So do be careful with those. You don't want to snap your fingers off. I was able to snap it back on without breaking it, so that's good. I mean, that's kind of the baseline for what you'd expect from a toy. But just do be careful with those. Again, no breakage, but it did stress a little bit, and you do want to be careful with that. So yeah, here he is. Here's the jet mode, and there's, like I said, there's not really a whole lot to it aside from the light up canopy or cockpit up here. There's not a whole lot of like major features aside from the landing gear. I did put this Decepticon logo on myself. But the battery, you just kind of lift this up and slide it out, and the battery just slots. Where's the opens? Oh, from this end. You just kind of slot it right in there, and then the switch will turn this on and off. And once you're done, I'll make sure that stays in there, and then you just can slide it right back in to the panel here. There we go. Snap it in there like that. Oh. So yeah, now to turn them into dinosaur mode, we'll go ahead and pull the guns off the bottom here. Untab the arms from the side, which this one's already done. And untab it here. There's a peg right here on the side that goes in the arm into this peg hole. And then there's two peg holes on the bottom of the dinosaur paw that tab onto these two pegs here on the back. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and rotate that up, and you can go ahead and bend his tail up, wrong way, like that. Fold the landing gear down, of course. He's actually got a much simpler transformation between all of his modes than King Gorilla did, which is kind of nice, actually. So yeah, bring this around so the paw is facing up, snap it up, rotate it around. You can bring it back down if you want. Here on the foot, and then make sure this middle joint is arranged in such a way that there's rotational joints above and below, so you want to make sure it works as a knee. And we'll do that on this side as well. You can see that joint rotates around, and you can put it in whatever position you prefer in dinosaur mode. Go ahead and make sure the knee is functional here. Bring this up. Rotate it around. He does have a little articulation here in his toe. Bring the dinosaur arms. Actually, you want to wait on the dinosaur arms because you got to open up the and flatten out his feet there. We're already mostly there to dinosaur mode. And instructions say to split the feet, but you don't really have to. You can. Well, I guess maybe you do. So lift these up. Pop this panel up, and then you can open up, yeah, you do. Okay, you can open up these panels and flip out these two purple panels from each half of the leg. Pin those back together. Flip that up, flip these in, put this panel back in, like that. Bring his legs back up. Bring his dino arms out, and you can position these. They've got a ball joint up here at the top, and then a hinge here, a dual hinge at the elbow, and then his hand itself has a hinge, and then his little fingers have a little hinge. So you've got a pretty decent range of posability. They're slightly dinky arms for a dinosaur of this size, but they're fairly posable. There we go. Now we'll come up here like this. refocus just to make sure that's staying in there. And Komodus just folds in half to form the dinosaur head, much like the original toy. His robot face is still visible on the top. It's not super noticeable unless you're like specifically looking at it to see the dinosaur face, and he's got some little orange plastic eyes, little chompy jaws, and you can still see his robot head there. Now his robot head can rotate. I haven't gotten it to rotate all the way around, but if you want to kind of rotate it off to the side so it's not as visible, you can do that. And then basically this little slot here in the peg holds these together. These peg together, and you may have to squeeze these a little bit trying to get these on, but there's two little pegs up in here, and this fits over both of them to hold this whole thing together. And the first time it's a little rough because you really got to squeeze it on there to get his head on there. But there he is in dinosaur mode. And he's pretty sturdy, despite the fact that these pieces right here don't actually lock onto anything. The ratchets are sturdy enough that it does support him in a lot of poses. You can have him leaning mostly forward, and however you can bring the hips. If you want to have him longer hips like this, you can do that. I think they look better if you bring these all the way up and around like this. Kind of balances out the robot mode versus making him look like he's got a super long torso. But yeah, like I said, slightly dinky dinosaur arms, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's not like they were real winners on the original toy either. And his head can rotate. The peg that this is on, that's what gives him his head swivel articulation in robot mode, and it can swivel here too, so you can tilt it, open his jaws, have him come at you. Rawr. And then the guns can peg in here, right here, into the bottoms of the feet to have him a weaponized dinosaur mode there. I'll pull out and get a good look at him like that. And to go on to robot mode here, go ahead and pop the guns off, pop the dinosaur head off, and just leave them folded up. We're going to plug them in to the robot body. Fold the dino arms back up, and there's a little peg right here. No, so bright I can't see it here, but there's a little peg right here. This arm, there's a little peg hole inside the arm, so you'll know you got it lined up properly when that peg's in. Just like that. It's not like a super secure peg, but it's more of a positioning thing than anything else. We'll fold that right in. Go ahead and bring these around so you've got some clearance here. Pop this panel back out. Open up the legs. Fold these purple panels in. Then go ahead and split the legs here and at the purple pegs. Come on. There we go. And just fold these back in like that. So they click into place. Then you can flip the entire leg assembly down. Now you want to make sure to fold these panels here in first. You don't want to snap those off. So open this up, fold these little panels in, and then fold the leg around. Yep. Just kind of pull them out to the side there to get them open. And then close the leg panel back up. It should click into place. You've got it all lined up properly. There we go. Bring the foot down, and you can see there's a dual hinge that ratchets here, and there's a screw here. So bring it all the way back, and then flip the lower half back around to form his heel. Same on this side. Bring this rotating piece all the way back around and forward, or up, I guess, and then flip that down, and you're done with his legs. Rotate his waist around like this, and you're done with the lower body. Up top, losing my camera here. All right, sorry about that. My camera was coming off my tripod. Had to fix it. So come around here to the back and lift these two side panels up on the back. And then he's got an ab crunch, so you just kind of ab crunch him forward and close these panels up into here. I don't know why this is catching over on this side. should just, there we go. It should just collapse into there. Like that. Ab crunch him down. This panel just kind of rotates and folds down like this. And before you rotate the arms all the way up, we'll go ahead and straighten out this. Disconnect this from the body and fold it down like that onto the back. Flip these little tabs here up on the side, because those, I can get my finger in here. There we go. Flip them all the way so they're straight up, because when you rotate this up, these slide into some little grooves here on the die cast piece to actually lock the shoulders in place. They'll work just fine if you don't flip them up, but it does lock them in place fairly securely. Bring the arms down. And then rotate this around, take the paw, rotate it around like that, and fold it up onto the arm. Open this panel. What I like to do is open this panel and kind of push it up through here, because it can be difficult to get this panel up. But rotate the fist out, close that all up, rotate the wings down like that. And again, you'll have to rotate the elbows, the centerpiece around, so the elbows function in robot mode. And then rotate his fist out. And he's got fully posable fingers, which is nice. Again, do be careful with the thin little post at the bottom, but for the most part, they're pretty solid and super posable. Do the same thing on this side. Let's go ahead and rotate the elbow joint forward first. Fold that down, rotate the paw, and flip it up. There. Open up the bottom, push the purple panel open to flip the fist out, close it up, rotate it, and then for the cherry on top, it helps not to drop the head on the floor when you're trying to put it on. But yeah, come up here to the top, there's a little divot here, and opened up the chest, and plugging his head in activates his tech spec meter, which is kind of neat. Pretty strong too. Like I said, I added this as a repro label I stuck on the front. It's transparent, just white outline, what looks good on the purple. He does have side-to-side head swivel, thanks to that peg. The arms ratchet forward and back, out at the shoulders. You've got the rotational joint right there above the elbow. Dual hinged elbows. They can't get a full all the way up against the arm because of the shape of the upper arm and the lower arm, the roundedness, but you can get a pretty decent range of motion out of him. He does have a waist swivel, ratcheting hips, both side to side, front to back. Pop one of his fingers off, just like I said, be careful not to do, but it doesn't look like it broke anything. We just got to snap it back on. Hey, look, we're snapping this back on in a video. Let's see how well this is going to go. And just snap right back on. Ta-da! So there's that. So yeah, do be careful. You can pop those fingers off if you're not careful. So ratcheting forward and back. He's got a thigh swivel. Ratcheting knees. And again, there's two ratchets there. The lower one's kind of basically blocked by the back of the leg, but the upper one does allow the leg to fold back pretty decently. And he's got his toes, and his toes have a hinge in the front, and there is some ankle tilt there as well. It's a clicky ankle tilt. My one drawback with the leg articulation is here he is in kind of a straight leg stance, which works. The next click out on the ratchets is a very wide leg stance. And again, thanks to the ankle tilt, he can support himself in such a stance. But it'd be nice to have an option between those two. The flame effects can plug into his chest, like he's got some chest cannons, if you feel like doing that. And I've had several people concerned about how his guns peg into his hands. Now you take this, you flip this out to get the handle out. I've had no problems whatsoever with the guns pegged into the hands. They peg in very securely. Like here, I'll open up all his fingers here and peg a gun in. and it stays in there very securely. It's not falling out. I can lift it up. I can turn it so he's even, like with no finger wrapped around it at all, even in a flat horizontal pose, it stays plugged in. Now you can knock it out of there, but I mean, like even like I can wiggle his hand around by grabbing the end of the gun. It will eventually pop out. You can knock it out of there, but you can see him twisting his hand. He's there you go. Finally wiggled it out, but it does stay in pretty well, and it's exactly the same on the other side. I'll show that off. Click that on. We'll go ahead and have him hold on to that one. And same with this side. And it doesn't matter which gun goes in which side. Again, they peg on very securely. That one actually came out a little easier when I twisted it, but you're not going to have any problem. He's not just going to drop his guns on a whim. If you peg them in, they'll stay in very securely until you actually choose to remove them. If you wrap his fingers around them, it's even better. Dun, da, 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 he's going to get ya. So yeah, like I said, I like Snapdragon. His Dragon mode's okay, or Dragon or Dinosaur, whatever you want to think of it as. It's okay. It's not perfect. I know some people seem to really like it. I think it's a little elongated. The arms are a little dinky. But again, the original's arms were not anything to shout home about, really. His robot mode is nice. Here, nice poseability. I love the jet mode. I really do love his jet mode. It was, I think, my favorite mode back on the old toy, and I still enjoy it here. Now, I mentioned I don't have the G1 toy anymore to compare it with, but since I do have G1 Brainstorm, and Snapdragon was a little taller than that, but just to give an idea with a G1 Headmaster, that's about how big he is. So yeah, be careful with him. The arm issue, I really, really hope... Oh, sorry, Brainstorm. I really, really hope that that does not end up being a widespread issue. I hope that was just a fluke on some of the test shots that got sent out. Because outside from that, I really do enjoy him. I think I like him better than KINGZILLA. Part of that is nostalgia, I won't lie, because, like I said, I did have him as a kid. I probably said that like 8 times in this video now, and you're probably getting tired of hearing it. But so there's a nostalgia factor there. I do wish he was a slightly more off-white versus the silver. But like I said, he's solid. And I really, like I said, I hope that arm issue just doesn't become a problem for everybody, because I'd hate for people to get this, say, oh, he's cool, and then have that happen. Because the thing is, like, when it happened to me, I literally wasn't even touching the arm. I had just gotten him out of the package. I put his guns in his hands. I had him standing kind of like this, and I was working on, like, checking out his foot ratchet. I was literally kind of going like this, and I was like, oh, he's got ankle tilt. And I was holding him like this, twisting his ankle, and his arm just went poink right off the side. So be careful of that. Like I said, that's scary. I can't 100% say, go buy this right now because of that. If we get a few shipments, where people start getting them and they're not falling apart, like I said, because like I said, the arm, the replacement arm they sent to me is super solid. I've had no issues with it. I've given it a good rundown to make sure it wasn't going to be an issue, and I haven't noticed any flaws like that. So it could have just been a faulty batch that a few of us got. But do be careful with it, because otherwise, I like Snapdragon, and I think he's a worthy triple changing headmaster. But there he is, KFC's KINGZILLA with Komodus, and thanks for watching.